What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today, we got a much shorter video than yesterday's video. Today's video is actually going to be based off of one of the teams that I showed in yesterday's video. However, that video was an hour long, and I imagine most of you probably just skipped past it. That's a long video. That's basically a movie. So today, I want to talk about the team that honestly is probably my favorite arena team right now. And I had just made it last night. I played with it some. I had the idea of it when I saw his champions, and it actually came together so well. So in our battle log, this defense right here, I'm going to show you guys what the team is. But we won this. It's in gold 1. We won this battle. We won this battle. We won this battle. And the defense is currently slotted into the first slot. So we won 3 in a row. That's very impressive in 3v3. 3v3, it's a lot more difficult to win the battles, I'd say, because you can see the three teams the person has. You can see their player power. You can put your best teams versus their best teams. And usually it's pretty difficult to make some really good 3v3 teams, especially if you don't have a ton of amazing champions. But this team right here, I think, is incredible. So here we go. We have Mighty Ukko, Siphi, Tormund, and Valkyrie. So if you're looking at this thinking, yeah, okay, I'm out. You lost me. I don't have those champions. I want to talk about some potential substitutes you could use if you wanted to try something similar to this. And then I want to show you guys why this team is just so disgusting, like disrespectful. Like, it locks down the teams completely. And when I had first seen it, I was like, okay, Mighty Ukko is going to strip. All right, so basically what happens, Tormund tells the enemies, hey, if you see a Tormund, you're typically going to bring block debuffs, right? Well, if you see Valkyrie, you're not going to want to bring many buffs whatsoever. So you have a Tormund and a Valkyrie, and it's got you split between those decisions. You're like, well, I should bring buffs, but I shouldn't bring buffs. And then Mighty Ukko's like, it doesn't matter what you bring because I'm going to get rid of all of them. Plus, he's in a stun set with good accuracy. The stun set doesn't need accuracy, but he does need accuracy to land his block buffs, his decreased accuracy, which is actually super annoying. And then the team just goes through and absolutely destroys everyone. You have the potential stun set for Mighty Ukko proccing. You have the Valkyrie boosting turn meter if the enemy ever buffs. You have Tormund freezing whenever the enemy gets a buff that's not block debuffs. You have Tormund also placing provokes. You have Siphi doing some sleeps, which Siphi is not needed. I think Siphi, I don't know how you say her name, but she's an amazing champion. She's probably the best option in that slot. But if you have somebody faster than Mighty Ukko who can place block debuffs, then it's going to allow you to go against those enemy Tormund teams who would otherwise freeze you, which is great, right? So if you have the option of bringing Siphi, definitely do it. But if you don't, she's not needed because the main core of this team is just crazy control and just absolute domination, more or less. From Mighty Ukko stripping, Tormund making the enemy have to bring block debuffs, and then Valkyrie basically are unincentivizing enemies to bring buffs because she just boosts the turn meter. Boosts her turn meter, reduces the enemy's turn meter, everything. I think it's great. Now, we obviously don't want to wake up Siphi here, so we're just going to continue doing this stuff. Kind of weird, but it's all going to be okay. So we'll just turn on auto. I want to see how it works on auto. This is an interesting team to go against because, to be honest, we're just going to die, right? Baron's just going to one-shot me, no problem. But we'll leave it in the video. That should be our only loss. Baron, not a good option for this team to go against. I want to get some better teams. May just go and do 3v3. I'm so excited that I'm messing up all my speech. But here we go. Level 100. Let's see how this goes. I really want to try to do some teams that are going to be a little more challenging. We can do some 3v3 stuff. But after this match, I want to get in there, show you guys the breakdown of these champions, how you can build them, and maybe give you guys some ideas on how you could build a similar team with some different champions. Because not everybody has all of these champions. Obviously, you can't stray too far, because if you go too far different, then you have a completely different team. But look at all that control. Wow. Stuns, freeze, provoke. Once the block debuffs comes off the enemy, it's done. Now, this team is kind of weak to Cardiel, cleansing champions, Rio, champions we're going to constantly cleanse. It's a little bit weak. But I'm only saying a little bit because Mighty Ukko, built fast, has a very low cooldown already on his A2 ability. Let's see. 4-turn cooldown. It's not that bad. He's going to be cycling through pretty quickly. I mean, we have some cycle of revenge, everything. Let's go ahead and talk about the champions and their masteries. So Siphi is built to be faster than Mighty Ukko. If you're going to use her to counter Tormund, or whoever you use, ideally, it's going to have block debuffs, so you could use Cardiel. Tons of different options. Cardiel could be amazing as well. Bringing Sify or a different champion who has a res is going to give you that extra layer of survivability, sustainability if you were to, kind of fall apart. But she brings the block debuffs, which is so nice. Increased defense, which synergizes very, very well with Tormund as well as Sify because they're both doing some damage in this team. So amazing, amazing champion. But you can definitely use other options. She's not required for this team. For support champions, I like to go polymorph. So that's what we have here. As far as her masteries go, this is what she has. This is her current setup. I don't think I changed anything, so it may not be the best setup, but that is what she has. As far as her artifacts, she's just built fairly fast. If you can make her 330 with Mighty Ukko being, 300, that'd be even better. So if you scale the speed up as high as you want, this so far has worked out pretty decent. We have Mighty Ukko going second. Right now he's in stun gear as well as perception. So remember, you don't need accuracy for the stun gear to land the stun, but you do need accuracy to land that strip and the block buffs, as well as the decreased accuracy from that A2 ability, as well as the decreased attack from that A1. So currently Mighty Ukko is 276. I would really like to get him to 300 speed, or as fast as we can possibly get him, because he's super annoying. Constant A1 ability, has a chance to land that stun. The decreased attack completely throws off nukers, like attack-based nukers, so difficult to actually do good damage if they have decreased attack on him. Mighty Ukko is a very, very annoying champion, and every time he hits, he has a chance of landing stun. So good HP, if you can get it, good defense, those are going to be ideal. But ideally, I guess ultimately, have really fast speed and then good accuracy. 300 is probably on the lower side. I would rather it be 400, but get as much as you can. Obviously, it depends on what level of the arena you're at. And then once you hit these two numbers, try to stack as much defense and HP as you can. For me, if I can get an HP glove and it's like maybe 5 or 10 speed less than a crit damage one, I may go the HP percentage one just because it's going to allow me to survive that much more. But it depends on where your speed's currently at. So some sacrifices can be made to give you a little extra survivability, but you kind of just got to play with it. That'll give you the best idea. Skills, fully booked. Definitely want to get them fully booked. Better chances to land everything. As far as blessings go, I'm going to go polymorph for a few reasons. One, Fearsome Presence is going to give it a higher chance to actually land the sheep, which is incredible. Polymorph is the most annoying arena blessing, so I think it's just perfect for him to have. And then we have Sniper for an increased chance to land that decreased attack from that A1 ability. But to be honest, we could have gone this Retribution instead for extra chances to counterattack. We do have Valkyrie, so we're going to be counterattacking quite a bit as it is. So this setup, I like it so far. It's working out pretty good. Now, as far as Tormund and Valkyrie, they're built basically exactly the same. Now, if this was a ideal situation, we would be moved up into Savage, Lethal, Instinct. We'd be moved up into a gear set. It's going to allow us to ignore more defense, have more actual defense stat, have similar number of accuracy, 300 plus ideally, and then an okay speed. Speed for Valkyrie is more important than Tormund because I want Valkyrie to constantly be coming around, reducing the enemy's turn meter, but more importantly, using that A2 ability for consistent counterattacks. So Valkyrie, building her faster with a little bit less damage, a little more accuracy. Tormund is just going to be really the truck. Like, he's just going to be hitting so hard, and he does. He hits very, very hard, and he's not even in significant defense ignore sets. As far as the skills, everything's fully booked. Masteries, we do have everything masteried. We have Helm Smasher, no flawless execution. We are going the offense tree because both him and Valkyrie are the only damage dealers we have. This is where all of our damage is coming from. Valkyrie is a very similar setup, if not exactly the same, to Tormund. Okay, it's a little bit different. She does have some buff extensions. She also has this ability, mastery, because it gives us a 5% larger shield, which Valkyrie already casts a massive shield. Even better with Sify doing the increased defense. So here we go. We don't have any of the defense ignore sets. Instinct, I think, is something Shane is going to get down the road, which is going to make this team even that much better. More defense ignore, extra speed. It's going to be awesome. But you can see she's at 226 speed, decent crit damage, 100% crit rate, of course. Defense could be higher, but it's definitely not bad. And 351 accuracy. We could probably get by with 300, but I really like the idea of her reducing most champions' turn meters. I'm not worried about reducing champions' turn meters on those champions who, are running high resistance. I don't care about them. I only care about mainly getting the damage dealers and the boosters and the champions all just out of whack, okay? So like if I reduce, say, like for this team, for example, okay? Maybe they want the Rosin to go next, okay? If I reduce the turn meter so Rosin actually goes before Madame Saris or something weird like that, and now your team is all out of whack and like, what's going on here? My stripper just went after my damage dealer and my team is just ruined. That's perfectly fine. I would love that. But this team is mostly being taken against these fast teams. Completely shuts them down. Really no problem whatsoever. Not so much against those slow, really tanky teams, because to be honest, those teams typically have that block debuffs, cleansers, high resistance, which this team can kind of deal with, but it's not really the goal for this team. Like this team right down here at the bottom, okay? This is not going to be a great example. We could probably beat them. We could possibly beat them, but it's not going to be a great match because you have Necrit protecting somebody in the beginning. You have Duchess who's going to place block debuffs. You have a lot of stuff that makes this team a lot weaker, but it's still a possibility. If we strip all that stuff, then yeah, and we stun them, it's going to be over, right? We stun 2 of the champions, and now they have block debuffs. Maybe we can kill Duchess. Maybe. There's definitely a possibility, but Rhodos is going to hit us very, very hard. Turn on auto, see how it goes. But ideally, you stay away from block debuffs. You stay away from things that you know are just going to absolutely ruin you. And then Heffrak is just going to hurt us pretty bad as well, I'm sure. See if we can get back around to Mighty Ukko's A2 ability. And if we do, the team should be flawless. Surprisingly. Even against a team like this, which is super tanky. Let's see. This is useless to use right now because they all have block debuffs, right? Wait, does Rhodos? He does not have block debuffs, does he? No, he doesn't. Heffrak and Necrit do, though. And now Rhodos does as well. Big shield from Valkyrie. And yeah, our whole team's dead. So unsurprisingly, Heffrak absolutely destroys teams. If we would have stunned him with Mighty Ukko in the beginning, we would have been fine. But there we go. We did a few matches with teams that are a little bit more difficult. This has a cleanser. We could be ruined, but more than likely, somebody's going to be frozen. 2 people are frozen. We could have slept Cardiel, but since our Siphi and Mighty Ukko are pretty close in speeds, this will probably be the best thing to do. But unfortunately, Cardiel cleansed everything. Not a big deal, because we have the Valkyrie doing damage, as well as the Tormund doing damage. Now here, I could go ahead and kill Biggin, strip his buff, just kill him, get rezzed again, not a big deal, because everybody begins to counterattack now. Any AoE champions they have are an absolute liability, okay? Arbiter in her A2, Biggin on any of his abilities, Mighty Ukko on the enemy's team, Hegemon on the enemy's team, Kaimar, Warlord even. Any AoE champion is an absolute liability because of our counterattacks with AoE abilities on 2 different champions, and then a pretty hard-hitting counterattack from Valkyrie. Turn it back on auto. Let's see how it goes. But it's not very often that I see a team that makes me like, wow, this is actually a lot of fun. It's super cool to watch, very consistent, but it's just an overall fun team to play. There's a lot of teams that are good, but just because the team's good doesn't mean it's very fun. I feel like this one's both. It's good fun and actually a viable team, I think. I want to see how it does on his defense, because on his 3v3 defense, it's doing very well. But that could be people saying, okay, I can beat the teams 2 and 3 pretty easily. I'm just going to sacrifice a team for the first one. That's definitely a possibility. I do that a lot as well. So I'm not discounting that. So this team's definitely not unbeatable by no means. Obviously, we just lost twice. But it's definitely going to be a very good team. Here we go with Mithrala. Now, this is going to be an interesting setup because Mithrala runs very high accuracy / resistance. So she's probably just going to cleanse anyways. So we speed boost. If we stun her, it's going to be great. She can't resist that. So there we go. We ended up not going great for us. They have no strip champions, so it may be perfectly fine. We just almost killed the Duchess. They have no strips, so Gaius won't place any bombs whatsoever. We'll just use the A1. There we go. Kill this Duchess, and then we should be good to go. I mean, Gaius does his AoE ability, and then we're all just counterattacking like crazy. There we go. Duchess is dead. Now Arbiter is probably going to follow right along. And then it's more or less just hope we don't get bombs placed by Gaius. And then hopefully we can finish them off. Stunning on the Mithrala. Perfect. And we have the res from Mighty Ukko as well as a res from Siphi. So we have a lot of sustainability. If somebody dies, see if he can pick them up with a big turn meter boost. Mighty Ukko could pick them up with a block damage applied. Also does it increase speed, which his res isn't super reliable if you're doing full auto because he always uses it. Also does it increase speed. But either way, very nice setup. So let's see this team right here. This is a super, super easy counter. This person is level, let's see, level 100, so 7.8 million player power. We're at like 9 million player power, so Shane's account's not super high in player power, but this team is just going to get destroyed. Like Kaimar got frozen, and then the team. Oh, reaction gear. Reaction gear, very important. If you can get it, definitely equip it on your champions. 3 pieces ideally, but some of these champions only have 1 piece, which is fantastic by itself because you can see Tormund procced it, and then nobody died. Swift parry, that would be a great set as well on Tormund or Valkyrie, honestly. If you get swift parry on them, that could definitely make for some annoying matches. I've came across a few Tormunds who had swift parry. Man, it was frustrating. Definitely very frustrating. And try against this whale, absolute whale of a level 76. 2 Georgids and a Marichka, which that champion is super annoying. But I think this team makes her basically irrelevant. Because if everybody's controlled, then it really doesn't matter who gets res when they get res, right? Now, we can definitely lose. It's definitely a possibility. I think it's kind of unlikely. A lot of res is about to happen, though, that's for sure. A lot of res is about to happen. Let's see. Boom, okay. Tormund kills him. Gets stunned. It really doesn't matter even if I click on them. Because they're just going to get stunned, slept, froze, provoked. Any of the other things that could possibly happen. Let's try this Warlord team. This one will be easier because they don't have any block debuffs. The previous Warlord team had block debuffs. Kaimar, Sifi, Warlord, plus something else. This one should be a lot different. There we go. 2 hits. Hopefully stun the Warlord. Didn't stun him, but we did decrease his accuracy, which could be massive. Because if it was 500, now it's 250. So the Warlord who was landing the lockouts no longer could. Obviously, that's not the case here because he still landed his lockouts. But either way, just with our A1 abilities, it's still a very solid team. A1 abilities alone. And Valkyrie, the one who has maybe the most impactful A2 ability, is an extremely low cooldown as it is. I mean, it's like 2 or 3 turns. So we can get back there, no problem. So try another team. Tormund versus Tormund? Let's see. 289,000 player power versus our player power, which is much lower. This team should be perfectly fine, honestly. Here we go. Froze the Arbiter. Stun somebody, maybe. Nobody stuns yet. The strippers, not good. You got to watch out for those strippers, okay? Because if you face a lot of those in the matches, you're going to get the counterattack removed, the block debuffs removed, and it's not going to be a great situation. So that's probably the main counter to this team is strip champions. Definitely something you want to be mindful of. Not the end of the world, because you can definitely come back from it, as you're seeing. We still are placing the provokes. We're still doing all that kind of stuff. But it is something that's very dangerous, especially since nothing's protected. If we had protection set, possibly. It's still a lot of RNG, but that could add an extra layer to Valkyrie. Swift parry on Tormund or the defense ignore sets could add an extra layer as well. So just something to be mindful of, right? Sub 1 minute farm times, though. Pretty nice. Definitely a good team to have in your defense for Classic Arena. Defense in 3v3. Your offense team. Very good against a large variety of teams. Not so much for Hegemons, though it technically could. Just not going to be the best options. Ultimate Death Knight, doesn't matter. Very good counter to him. Let's see, another level 100. Here we go at the very bottom. We don't need to use his full refill. Unless it's about to expire. Okay, it's about to expire. So I'll go ahead and put one more refill up. This video is becoming longer than I expected it to be. We're at the almost 30-minute mark. Hopefully a lot less for you guys watching. But either way, this should be a pretty decent example here. Maybe we do a few more. I mean, it's fun. It's a fun team. There's not a lot of them. Dang. Look at all those debuffs. And then she did 10 seconds. 10-second farm on a go second team. Pretty impressive, I'd say. Let's see. Here's a apothecary team. This is a very, very vanilla, old school team, it looks like. Arbiter into apothecary with Madame Saris and Ray. It's pretty cool. I like it. I think it's pretty interesting. I mean, that's unfortunate. Now they get a lot of counterattacks coming back at them. And then, there we go. So, 14-second farm there. Too good. Too good. Let me know, guys, if you have any teams that are kind of like this, that's you just enjoy playing, that you think is a really fun team for the arena, that you actually enjoy doing arena matches on. You kind of want to continue theory crafting them. There we go. We froze the Duchess. The most important champion to freeze there. Beautiful. Place the counterattack after Madame Saris. Does the cleanse. Everybody's provoked. Man, they're in a pretty bad spot, I'd say. The Skull Crown was feeding into our counterattacks, though. And then Tormund, doesn't really matter if you kill him because he's just going to res again. Now, they are pretty tanky. I'm going to go ahead and say that. They are pretty tanky. So we may have an issue with actually killing this team. We'll see, though. I mean, okay, Frozen. They're tanky, but if they never get a turn to really do any damage, then I guess it doesn't really matter, does it? Everybody's rezzed. All right, so let's try to hit the Arbiter some now. It doesn't really matter who I select because we have so much AoE abilities. It's kind of irrelevant, honestly. There we go. Perfect. Wow. Definitely surprised. I mean, they had a lot of reses, a lot of back and forth stuff, and we still managed to get through it all. Tormund with 187,000, Valkyrie with 110,000, and Mighty Ukko with some crazy lockdown abilities. All right, so that's the team. That is a team right there, guys. Pretty fun. I'm gonna put it on his defense for him real quick. We'll so Mighty Ukko in the lead. Definitely gonna get Polymorph Blessing on Mighty Ukko. That's gonna make a very nice addition in general. The Sifi, I think it's this one. No, it's the other Sifi. It's the one with the blessing, Polymorph Blessing. Very nice to have on that champion as well. And then we have Valkyrie and Tormund. Now, if you get Polymorph on, well, you don't want Polymorph on Valkyrie or Tormund, I don't think. I would probably rather have the Lightning Cage. It's going to allow you to more consistently keep up those increased defense, block debuffs, whatever it may be. We're going to prioritize the res and then do the A2 ability number 2 priority. Prioritize this, prioritize her A1 or her A2, and then Tormund can do whatever he wants. So guys, there you go. Hopefully you all enjoyed that video. Thank you all very much for watching. A team that I had a ton of fun playing, a ton of fun making. With that said, I'll catch you all in the next video.